If there's one fact about internet marketing, it is that it's an industry where there are quite a few confused people who jumped into the deep end of the pool and now find themselves in trouble. And there are the enlightened people who've learned how to make lots of money after learning all the things they needed to learn. Now, if you find yourself confused and out of your depth in the internet marketing industry, it's quite understandable. The internet is full of helpful articles and videos, all purporting to tell you how to make oodles of cash by following all their complicated rules and systems. With all these bits of information available, you may have some difficulty recognizing which information is important and which are essentially irrelevant. But according to the trailblazers, who actually learned their lessons firsthand on the way to success, you only need to learn the fundamentals. Apply these fundamental lessons right away, and you'll get improved results quickly. It's that simple. So what exactly are these fundamentals? Let's take a look. Before you find out what lessons you need to learn to succeed in internet marketing, the first thing you need to do is to change the way you think. In fact, consider that as your first lesson. If you were ever an employee, or if you are part of the poor or the middle class, then the predominant mindset is that the things happen to you and that you're not really in control. As an employee, for example, you are not really dependent on your own actions and skills. You are actually dependent on the goodwill of your boss and your company. You are not in control because they tell you what to do, and they're the ones who decide if you're doing well or not. And even if you are doing well, you can still lose your job anyway. It's the same thing if you are an average member of the poor and the middle class. If you just wait for things to happen to you, and you hope that these things are good, then that's why a lot of lottery tickets are bought by the poor and the middle class, because to them, it's all about luck and fate. You buy a lottery ticket and just hope and pray that your fate improves. It's a very different mindset for those who have already succeeded or who are truly determined to succeed. To them, their most important and most basic belief is that they control their life. It's all up to them. They don't blame anyone else for their circumstances because they believe that they are ultimately responsible for their life. They don't want to wait for what fate gives them, for they are the masters of their own fate. Employees and the poor and the middle class all want to be rich, of course. But sometimes it's hard to tell when you give them money. Sometimes they actually try to give some of it back. But the driven ones who believe that they control their own destiny, they don't want to just be rich. They are committed to being rich. And there's a big difference between those two kinds of thinking. That's why those driven to succeed are very comfortable when they receive money. They won't give it back because they worked hard for it and they earned their keep. In internet marketing, you prepare by knowing things you don't know. The more you know, the more data you gather. And the more skills you learn on the internet marketing, the more you also increase your chance of succeeding. Perhaps you've made a list of things you have to know, and then you can cross things out of that list when you master them. So for example, if you're new, you can put marketing techniques and search engine optimization on that list, and then you can learn about them. But that list is dependent on what you think are things you need to know. You may not realize it, but there are probably lots of things which should be on that list but aren't, because you are new and you don't know any better. That's where a mentor comes in. A mentor has the experience and the lessons they learned on their own they can pass on to you, so you don't have to find out about it the hard way by wasting a lot of your time, money, and effort. The list of things you have to know is by definition incomplete, because you are relying on your own limited experience. With the right mentor, you can fill up that list with all the things you actually have to know in order to succeed. And if there's just one thing you can learn from that mentor, the most important thing that you need in order to succeed is to find a starving crowd. That's the key, the most crucial element. All of the other things pale in comparison to the importance of finding that starving crowd. You don't believe it? Then imagine this scenario. You have at your disposal the world's best marketing specialists. These are the guys who can design the most alluring websites, write the most literal text, and put up the most eye-catching images. If that's not enough, you can even add the world's best closers who can conjure almost everyone into buying stuff. With that kind of talent by your side, then it's inevitable that you'll sell a lot of stuff. It's like you are selling to a crowd by offering a lot of tasty treats, like lobsters and steak, all cooked to perfection and joined by a great glass of wine. You can also offer lots of mouth-watering desserts that are sure to tempt anyone out of their diet from just their looks alone. Maybe you can design an impressive menu by describing the dishes you offer in words that can win the Nobel Prize for Literature. You can even sweeten the deal by lowering your prices. With all that preparation, you are bound to make some sales. But if you are offering these treats to a crowd that has already eaten their fill, then you probably won't be able to sell to all of them. But with a starving crowd, being the one person with the ability to offer them the food they need can make you outsell all those marketing experts and closers. People who are starving don't just want food, they absolutely need it. So you don't even have to work all that hard to get them to buy the food that you're offering. You don't have to sweet talk them at all because they will be clamoring for your food and fighting others for the chance to buy the food that you're offering. The food that you're offering doesn't have to be the best lobster or steak. It can just be a simple burger that you got from a greasy fast food joint. It doesn't have to be elaborately cooked and prepared at all. You can actually offer them a 2-day-old burger, and it won't even matter if there are a few bites on it here or there. And of course, you don't have to lower your price for them to buy your stuff. You can even charge them 10 times of what the burger is actually worth, and they won't complain. If you give a starving crowd the food they need, you can make them pay a lot for it, and they'll actually thank you for it. On the internet, you always hear about some guy harping on and on about one great product or one great service. And from the way they talk, you realize that their focus is on their product. Most of their efforts are focused on how to make that product attractive to customers so that these people will buy the products. But that's the wrong focus. You shouldn't focus on the product, you focus on the customers. What do they really need? Once you are able to identify that need, then you direct your efforts into being the one to be able to furnish that need. To make money on the internet, you need to make sales. You'll have to focus on the net income you get, and that means your sales need to be higher than the money you spend on getting those sales. You can't move without money. And you'll need to spend money so that you can build the right team to help you in your efforts. So you start by choosing your market and your starving crowd, so to speak. You need to choose a niche, and for starters, you may want to consider a niche where people are making money. That means that it's a niche where people are starving. In a niche where no one is making money, that means that it's a niche where everyone is full. Don't think that you can revolutionize a niche where no one is making money by offering a product that is better than others. Remember, it's not about the lobster and steak that you're offering. With a bigger niche, where the competition is good, that's where your lobster can do well. Now remember that sales are the result of traffic and conversions, and you're good to go. Traffic is the number of people who get to look at your website. But it isn't just the number of people, but the number of the right people. The people you attract to get a look at what you're offering must be a member of the niche you are targeting. In other words, if you are searching for starving people, then your efforts at getting traffic should attract starving people and not those who are already full. And then with that traffic, you also need to tweak your conversion process. You can learn all you can about how to be persuasive so a website visitor becomes a website customer. But keep in mind, if the right traffic comes to your website, the job is already half done. Selling a lobster to a starving customer is easier than selling a lobster to one who has already eaten. With all of your efforts directed at making money, it's not all that difficult to derail your efforts if you are dependent on just one simple entity in order for your enterprise to succeed. What does that mean? It means that you must never be dependent on any one thing. If that happens, then it's like being back to working as an employee in which you are highly dependent on your company to make your salary. If that company folds, or it thinks that your position or your services are no longer required, then you're out of a job and out of luck. It's the same thing online. If you have a system in place and different areas to manage, you must make sure that each area has a backup so that if it stops working, it doesn't mean that you will stop earning. You can't ever be dependent on just one tech person to help you manage your website. And you need a backup in case that person falls ill or quits working for you. You can't depend on just a single source of traffic, because if that source dries up, then your business will suffer. As an example, a lot of businesses ran into trouble when Google last made changes in its algorithms because they were dependent on Google to divert traffic for their websites. Flower shops, which used to be in the top 10 Google results, closed shop when the Google changes dropped them to the top 60 or so. You can't be dependent on just one thing, whether it's hosting, merchant accounts, or CRM. Always have backups. The only way the number one is a good thing for you is if you are the only one providing for a starving crowd. Or at least, even if there are many of you, you are number one among them. But by learning all of these fundamentals of internet marketing, you boost your chances of getting to that number one position in the quickest possible time. Hope you have enjoyed this video. If so, please like and subscribe to our channel to get more content-packed videos like this. Before concluding this video, let me ask you this. Do you feel stuck? Most people are. You may be stuck in a dead-end job or in an endless job hunt. Or you may be stuck financially, living paycheck to paycheck. You may have tried to get a home business started, but gotten stuck somewhere along the way when all of the pieces didn't come together. Or you may have made a few affiliate commissions, but are stuck doing all the work yourself and unable to break through to the next level. Well, my top tier of business will get you unstuck and get you $1,000, $3,000, and $5,000 commissions deposited into your bank account without you ever having to pick up the phone. Our team will make the sales for you. What is my top tier business? In a nutshell, it's a 21-step program that will take you from where you are now to making your first or next $1,000, $3,000, or $5,000 commissions online. With my top tier, you can get your own personal coach to help you through each step. Your coach will walk you through the process, answer any questions that you may have, and show you exactly what you need to do to be successful in this business. Just use the link below the description to get more information while it's still available. See you inside.